Just because young people grew up with technology doesn't mean they know how to use it well. We've given an entire generation access to the world's information, but we haven't given them the wisdom with how to navigate it. The world they're stepping into is changing faster than any of us could imagine or have experienced. According to a 2024 McKinsey report, AI could automate nearly 30% of tasks across most jobs by the end of the decade. And now we are in 2025, which means that number just went up. This means it's not just changing how we work, it's changing what we need to learn. And Google CEO Sundar Pichai said it best. AI will be the most profound technology humanity has ever developed, even more than fire or electricity. And when you think about that, it's both exciting and overwhelming. Because here's the truth. Access isn't the advantage anymore. Everyone has the same tools. What's going to separate this young generation apart is how they use them, how they think, how they question, and how they use technology to amplify their creativity instead of replacing it. Hi, everyone. I'm Saba. I've worked with hundreds of businesses like at Apple, USC, and now I'm an AI strategist helping teams and students prepare for how technology is shaping both education and the workplace. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. The skills that set people apart today aren't just technical. They're human. They're skills like creativity, curiosity, and adaptability that are going to define their success in just about every single field. In January of 2025, LinkedIn's COO said that everyone should be able to answer this interview question. Tell me a story about a time you used AI at home or at work. And for young people, we change it to at home or at school. They want to know what you learned from it. Now, I want you to take two different students answering that exact question. The first one says, well, I used ChatGPT to write a report once. And when the interview asks what they learned, they kind of say it made things faster. And that's very much a tool-driven answer. It focuses on efficiency, not thinking, learning, and decision-making. I want you to now imagine this student. They say, well, I was introduced to Gemini. I used it to research for a project. At first, I asked for a summary, but it felt really generic. So I started comparing sources and doing some of my own research. It helped me ask some better questions, and I realized the value wasn't in the answer, but it was in learning how to figure out how to answer the question. Now that is a story that people are looking for. It's got curiosity, reflection, and growth. And that's what interviewers mean when they say, tell me a story. You see, they're not looking for how good are you at using ChatGPT. They want to know what sparked your interest, what happened along the way, who was involved, and what did you learn. Employers don't just want to know that you can use AI. They want to know that you know how to make good decisions with it, and more importantly, you still know how to think alongside it. And we're already seeing what happens when people don't. Harvard Business Review recently published an article called AI-Generated Work Slop is Destroying Productivity. And it talked about the many companies who are now producing more work that looks good, but says pretty much nothing when you go to read it. Deloitte even calls it the PowerPoint apocalypse, and they got in a little bit of trouble too recently. The problem isn't AI, it's how people are using it, and this is not just young people, it's all people. Without intention or reflection, AI doesn't make our work better, it just makes more of it. And that's why this moment matters so much, because how students learn to use AI today will shape how they learn, how they work, and how they lead tomorrow. Now you see, for most of history, work pretty much followed a straight path. Go to school, get a job, retire. And that really made sense in the industrial age when stability was the goal and efficiency was the highest value. Then came my generation, sort of like at the end of the information age. We grew up with the computers and the internet. We were told just study, work hard, get good grades, and you will succeed. But somewhere along the way, that completely stopped being true. It wasn't just about what you knew anymore. It was about how you thought, how you adapted, and how you solved problems. That's what many people call entrepreneurial thinking. Now, that doesn't always mean that you have to be somebody who has to go and start a business, but it does mean that you are somebody who is resourceful, somebody who is curious, and somebody who is not afraid to take initiative. And unfortunately, this is a story that I know all too well, because when I graduated in 2007, same year that the iPhone came out when I was starting my career, I thought success would come because I got the grades, I got the degrees, and when I got my first job, a few months later with the recession, also came my first layoff notice. And what I discovered is that the world rewards something different in that time. It wanted more creativity, adaptability, and curiosity. That would open more doors for me than any rule book or grades or transcript ever could. Now, in the age of AI, that mindset is no longer optional, or it's no longer something that's just going to give you a little bit of an edge or an advantage. It's your entry ticket. Because when employers ask that interview question, they're not looking for your technical skills. They're testing your mindset. They want to know if you can use new tools with curiosity, judgment, and integrity. And in this world, success is now no longer about just what you know. What you know matters, but it's not enough. It's going to be about how you learn, adapt, and lead yourself through change. AI is not here to replace human intelligence, but it is going to reveal the value of human design. And this is why we love the method design thinking, and why I believe design thinking is your ultimate human advantage. Design thinking is the mindset behind some of the world's most innovative organizations. Apple, Nike, Google. It's the same exact mindset that we can also teach our young people as they think about designing and stepping into their own futures. You see, AI gives you speed. Design thinking gives you direction. AI can predict. Design thinking helps you imagine. Design thinking starts with empathy, asking, who am I creating for? What problem am I solving? What's going on over here? What are some things that I see that maybe aren't being said? And instead of asking, what can AI do for me? They start asking, what can I design with AI that reflects how we can solve these problems, that's also going to reflect and integrate my creativity, curiosity, and values. So for example, let's imagine you're working on a project to reduce food waste in your community. You might interview local families or restaurant owners and understand their challenges. Then maybe you head to Gemini to brainstorm some solutions. Maybe you create a mobile app that connects leftover meals to shelters, or a campaign that helps people plan smarter grocery lists. You're not just using AI to find answers. You're using it to imagine possibilities and also showcase those possibilities as well. And that's the difference between people who consume technology and are doom scrolling all day long and those who are designing with it. And that's exactly what I teach you in my new free course, which is all about preparing students for success in the age of AI. In a world where AI is everywhere, this tempting little shortcut, our greatest advantage, young people's greatest advantage, isn't knowing all the answers. It's knowing who they are and how they can show people the projects, experiences, and decisions that they make. Through short, story-driven videos and a portfolio that you'll design in Canva, students learn to think, create, and lead through 3 core pillars: identity, integrity, and impact. They'll discover their strengths and values, learn how to make thoughtful, values-based decisions with AI, and create a digital portfolio that's going to showcase their purpose and potential. Because in today's future of work, that story is going to be what makes them stand out and is going to be their edge. Anyone can use AI, but not everyone uses it with purpose. AI can do the doing, but only they can do the becoming. So the real question isn't going to be how they use AI. It's going to be how we help them sharpen their human advantage with AI. How will they use AI not to replace their thinking, but to challenge their thinking, to amplify their curiosity, test and know their values, and build things that matter, not just things that are possible. That's how today they are going to stand out in this new future of work. Because the future doesn't belong to those who have all the answers. It is going to belong to those who know how to ask better questions and come together with other people to design what's next. If this video inspired you, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because next week we're going to dive even deeper into how to build that human edge, the habits, the mindsets, the tools, and the strategies that are going to help you thrive in the age of AI. So if you're ready to help young people start designing their future, click the link below, and I look forward to seeing you, because while the world is teaching machines to think, it's time we teach young people how to do the same with empathy, integrity, and purpose.